Hello everyone and welcome again to our class. What we are going to talk about today is about first aid. This is the first lesson in health for the third quarter. So for our learning competency, at the end of the lesson, you will be able to demonstrate the conduct of primary and secondary survey of the victim. As for our learning objectives, first, you'll be able to define the meaning of first aid. Second, discuss the 3 key points or 3 P's, the principles, roles, responsibilities, and characteristics of a good first aider. Third, explain the different ways of conducting an examination in giving first aid. And last, demonstrate on how to conduct primary and secondary survey of the victim. So let's get started. Although this lesson is just a short one, I encourage everyone to take down notes so that you will remember all the key points that are being discussed in this topic. So the first one that we are going to talk about today is the meaning of first aid. First aid, by its definition, is the first and immediate assistance given to any person suffering from either a minor or serious illness or injury, with care provided to preserve life, prevent the condition from worsening, or to promote recovery. There are 3 key points in first aid. Number 1, preserve life. This includes saving and minimizing threats of death. Number 2, prevent further harm. This covers external factors such as moving the patient away from harm and applying first aid to alleviate the situation. And number 3, promote recovery. This involves the completion of the treatment and healing process of the patient. There are also general principles in applying first aid. Number 1 is to rescue and removal of the victim in the shortest possible time without aggravating the situation. Second is confinement of first aid to essentials only. Number 3 is immediate arrest of hemorrhage. 4, restoration of respiration and circulation. And number 5, prevention of impending shock and treatment of shock if the victim is already in such a state. Number 6, immobilization of simple and compound fractures and dislocation. 7, alleviation of pain by simple procedures and medication. And lastly, number 8, assurance of getting well quickly to the victim and morale boosting. So the next thing that we are going to talk about are the roles of the first aiders and the characteristics of a good first aider. So what are the different roles of a first aider? Number 1, assess situation and ensure safety for first aider and casualty. Number 2, find what is wrong with the casualty. 3, render early and appropriate treatment. 4, arrange for removal to clinic, hospital, or home. 5, to remain with the casualty if it is necessary. 6, report observation to healthcare personnel on their arrival. And last is to prevent cross-infection between the first aider and casualty. So as you can see, the role of a first aider is very important in this type of situations because it provides first and immediate assistance to any person suffering from any minor or serious illness or injury. And it aims to preserve life, prevent the condition of that person from worsening, and also to promote recovery. Now let's talk about the characteristics of a good first aider. Number 1, a good first aider has good communication skills. 2, he or she has the ability to work under time pressure and to work as a team. 3, a good first aider is resourceful, meaning that he or she could make the best use of things at hand. Number 4, he or she must be tactful, does not frighten the victim, and at the same time, number 5, he or she must be sympathetic in terms of effort and reassures the victim that everything is going to be okay. Now with all this in mind, there are certain principles that a first aider must follow. First is to preserve life. Second is to prevent deterioration. Third, promote recovery. 4, taking immediate action. Number 5, calming down the situation. 6, calling for medical assistance. And 7, apply relevant treatment. But before applying first aid to the victim, the first aider must conduct physical examination in order to assess the situation of the patient. There are two ways in conducting physical examination when first aid. First is the primary survey, and second is the secondary survey. So how do we conduct primary survey? The following steps are to be considered. First, check for consciousness. Second is open the airway. Third, check for breathing. And fourth, check for circulation. Now, after doing all these steps, the second thing that you should do is to conduct the secondary survey. So what are the steps in conducting secondary survey? This includes history taking, checking of vital signs, and head-to-toe examination. So after you've conducted the primary survey, first is you have to check the history of the patient. Number 2 is to check for vital signs. This includes pulse rate, temperature, respiration, and skin color. Now that you have examined all those vital signs, next is to conduct head-to-toe examination. So what are those things that you have to examine? First is the head and neck. Second, the eyes. Third, chest. Fourth, abdomen. And lastly, the back. Now that we are done with our discussion, let's just have a short activity. On our Google Classroom, I have posted a short quiz in order to assess all the learnings that you have gained in this discussion. So if you have any questions regarding the activity, just don't hesitate to give me a personal message or just type it on the comment box. So just to have a short run-through of what we have discussed, we have defined the meaning of first aid, discussed the 3 key points or 3 P's, the principles, roles, responsibilities, and characteristics of a good first aider, and we have explained the different ways in conducting physical examination in giving first aid. And lastly, we have differentiated how to conduct primary and secondary survey of the victim. So thank you very much for attending our class, and I hope that you learned something from me. Again, if you have any questions or inquiries about our discussion, feel free to give me a personal message or just type it here in the comment box. Again, thank you very much, and I see you again next time.